It's unbelievable.
Matt Mernagh is a hero at his favorite hangout, Vapor Central, in downtown Toronto. Suffering from fibromyalgia, scoliosis, seizures and depression, Matt triggered a bombshell Ontario Superior Court ruling that struck down the medical marijuana program as unconstitutional because too few people have access to medical marijuana.
The whole problem of applying and getting access to medical marijuana for Canadians is just, it's very difficult. It's just like winning the lottery. It's literally winning the pot lottery.
This is where the federal medical marijuana program all breaks down, right here in the doctor's office. It's because less than 1/4% of doctors will sign the necessary forms. And if a patient can get that signature, it can take up to 9 months to get the application processed by Health Canada. In his ruling, the judge writes, rather than promote health, the regulations have the opposite effect. Rather than promote effective drug control, the regulations drive the critically ill to the black market. Flaws in the program mean many have to illegally buy or grow their own pot. So the court has also struck down possession and growing laws for all Canadians. This doesn't take effect immediately. The judge is giving the government 3 months to fix the program. If that deadline isn't met, the program dies, but so too do possession and growing laws for all Canadians.
We're in the middle of an election right now, and I'd really like to hear the party step up and say, you know what, this is a big problem, we're going to fix it. We're not going to try and score political points off the sick Canadians just because it's a stigmatized drug.
The celebration follows a 3-year legal battle after Matt was charged with growing his own pot because he couldn't get a doctor to sign his declaration.
Well, I'm overjoyed, right? I'm still obviously very skeptical. Things like this have gone back and forth in the past.
We felt it was almost inevitable. It's a long time coming. A little bit skeptical, but extremely hopeful for it.
The people here at Vapor Central are obviously on cloud 9 with this ruling, but the victory could be short-lived. The federal government is expected to appeal and seek a stay, which essentially overrides the ruling that could have made pot legal by mid-July. At Yonge and Charles, I'm Avery Haynes, City News.
Under the emerald haze at a marijuana bar in downtown Toronto, everyone has a Health Canada horror story they're passing around.
I had to do what many people in the community did, just doctor shop and find someone who would help me with an increase in my dosage.
I'm still trying to get my doctor to sign my papers.
I do have a license. I fought for a lot of years, but I do have it.
All of these midday tokers say they need pot not to get high, but to get healthy. They have ailments they say cannabis helps. But getting legal access to their medication isn't easy. And 16 by 9 discovered Canada's medical marijuana program is not only inaccessible, but according to some patients, it's riddled with abuse.
It's making money off of sick people.
Personal profiting was never the purpose of this medical program, but now those in the inner circle of prescription pot culture say they are seeing the abuse of Canada's medical marijuana program spread like a sickness. Blindsiding patients, counting on medical marijuana and Health Canada to help them. There's one man who's had a front row seat to what we've uncovered in Canada's medical marijuana program. Meet Matt Mernagh. He's proof the courts and the government know exactly what's going on.
Going live today from Vapor Central. How you guys out there today?
He's passionate about exposing how Health Canada is penalizing patients. He even hosts an internet radio show.
We encourage our group over here to come out and talk about medical marijuana. That's what we're going to talk about today. The R.V. Mernagh ruling.
He's the guy behind last year's Ontario Superior Court decision that gave Health Canada a deadline to clean up the program, or marijuana would be legal for everyone.
I have a court-ordered exemption allowing me to grow and possess medical marijuana. I don't have a license. I've been using medical marijuana since 1997 to treat my fibromyalgia, my scoliosis, and a tumor which causes seizures. I got caught growing medical marijuana. I spent 3 years in the Canadian court system. I spent 14 days in the Don jail, and I was ultimately exonerated by the Canadian courts, and the judge exempted me from those laws so I could treat my illness.
Yeah.
I would have done it.
And he's been treating it by growing his own.
This is the only grow-up of its kind in the world. There is no other legal marijuana grow-up in the world other than something that's science or government run. This runs completely outside of any government program.
In trying to treat his own illness, he says he's been confronted with greedy doctors, black market weed, and being shut out by Health Canada.
There's a complete niche in this country, an underground niche in this country that doctors have created for themselves that is not regulated by Health Canada. When you're sick, you're prepared to do what it takes to feel better. And
if that means pay, if that means travel, if that means...
All of that. All of that. Yeah, of course. I mean, people are prepared.
They're desperate.
They're 100% desperate.
But Matt refused to play the game, refused to shop for a doctor, refused to pay hundreds for a license, and refused to stop growing the medicine that helps him. He went all the way to Ontario's Superior Court, and the court agreed he shouldn't have to.
It was like winning the Stanley Cup. It really felt like I was holding the Stanley Cup over my head. Like, it just, there's never been any experience like it. It was just unbelievable.
The Ontario Superior Court decision is a damning indictment of Canada's medical marijuana program. Further proof it's failing its patients. The court agreed the government isn't doing enough to help patients access the program. In fact, it found the laws around growing and possessing marijuana to be unconstitutional because medicinal users can be charged without being able to obtain approval. The court gave Health Canada 90 days to improve the program, or it would be legal to possess or grow marijuana for any reason. The government has appealed, and that case will be heard here in May. So Matt may be in for what could be another long fight.
You know what? You have disrespected me for the last 10 years. I couldn't get into your program. You put me in jail. You took everything I owned. You tried to ruin my life. 90 days seems like a good kick back. And I'm proud of that. I think as hard as they tried to kick me, we kicked them right back.
So, is Health Canada going to clean up its act like the court ruled it should? We wanted to ask the Federal Minister of Health, Leona Aglukkaq, about what we uncovered, about the profiting, about the trafficking. She refused. Instead, sent her parliamentary secretary, Colin Carey, to answer questions.
Doctors charging upwards of $1,000 in some cases. People using their license to grow and sell marijuana on the black market. Doctors taking clinics on the road and seeing patient after patient.
Well, some of the ones that you brought to my attention today, I was certainly not aware of, but I think it's disgusting. When these abuses are taking place, they need to be investigated.
Are you surprised to hear those abuses?
I am, actually. What you're telling me, I'm totally unaware of. We need to make a change. So what Health Canada is going to be doing over the next 18 to 24 months, we're going to be phasing in a new program. We're trying to make it more, if it's going to be prescribed as a drug, to treat it more like a drug.
I mean, how is it that we can find out about these abuses and Health Canada hasn't known about them?
They've not come to my attention. But I commend you on doing your research. Sometimes the way government works, we do wait for people to bring complaints and to bring issues to our attention. And as I said, I'm looking forward to seeing your full report.
Meanwhile, those in need are chasing their prescriptions down dark alleyways and through black markets. They accept pot as medicine will never be popular, but aren't willing to sit by any longer and allow Health Canada to blow smoke.
The only thing I need is the doctor just to sign it. Nobody should be making money off it.
The whole system is bogus. The system is designed not to have people get their cannabis.
It's a shame that it has come to that. It's devastating because I think that does a disservice to physicians, it does a disservice to the patients, it renders the whole program a mockery.
This is a fight between me and the government of Canada, and that's what the headspace I get into. This is a fight. This is Rocky Balboa versus Mr. T. This is, UFC George St. Pierre versus Machida. This is a fight, and we're going to do it again at Court of Appeal. It's a fight.
Bring it on.
Bring it, 100% bring it on.
I just want to let everyone know the clip we were just watching is about Matt Mernagh, and he's here with us now. We got some great news that the verdict and decision we've been waiting for months and months has come in, and he's in court tomorrow morning at Old City Hall at 10 a.m. So many of us from the Toronto Hash Mob will be there to support him and show our support for ending prohibition. And if any of you would like to join us, feel free. There's information at the front. Here's Matt Mernagh to give you his words.
Know what you consider the run-of-the-mill, running the drill, none of it's real celebrity. I don't let any of it get to me. I am more mystery.
So I actually am gonna have to correct you. Well, it's been a bit crazy what's going on. We got word this afternoon at 2 o'clock via Paul Lewin, my lawyer, that the decision in my court case, RV Mernagh, which is we were at the Court of Appeal for 8 months ago, back in May, as you heard. It's February 1st. It's coming in. It's not actually going to be in the courtroom. We are, amazingly enough, just to correct everything, it's being mailed to him. We haven't been called into court like Rob Ford was called into court. We just getting an email tomorrow at 10:30. I'll be at my lawyer's office at 11:30 to hear the news because he has to be in court at 10:30 with another matter. So it's going to be a tight deadline. By noon tomorrow, if you're following my Twitter stream, we will tweet out essentially whether or not we retain the Cannabis Champion of the World title or whether the feds have taken it from me. Just to be clear, if you don't know what's going on, I struck down the marijuana law for possession. I struck down the marijuana law for production. And tomorrow we find out if the Court of Appeal agrees with the lower court ruling. The chances of the court overturning this are slim, but it is possible. So here's what I would like to happen. Tomorrow I will be here at Vapor Central at 2 o'clock. I've already arranged to do the Jim Richards show at 1 p.m. tomorrow at News Talk 1010. And I'll probably be speaking with their news staff. Chris Goodwin will be speaking with Jeremiah at Cannabis Culture to get the word out. Essentially what we're hoping from Paul Lewin's office to get the word out and ultimately get me here at Vapor Central to celebrate or commiserate, because let's face it, I've either knocked down the marijuana law or I'm going to prison. I admitted to not just growing marijuana and the crime that I was charged with. I took the witness stand for 8 hours and I said, yes, I grew marijuana. I've been growing marijuana since 1995 to treat my illness. My lawyer's like, that's probably not the best thing we should have asked you to testify to, but it was true. And the other part that was true is that we also told the court that I feel that there is no way at any time I could be able to grow marijuana as long as the government's involved. That I would continue to break the marijuana law to produce and produce my own and possess my own. So we have put them in a very precarious position. They're either going to knock down these weed laws, throw out a medical marijuana program, or they're going to put me in prison. The lower court agreed with us. They said the marijuana program is an illusion to the majority of Canadians. The majority of Canadians can have access to this program. Therefore, It doesn't exist. Therefore, I can just get eliminated. Oh, by the way, to make things correct so Mr. Mernagh can continue to just grow medical marijuana to treat that brain tumor, I'm just going to have to knock down the marijuana laws for people. Because I'm not the only one. We had 22 people. What's going to happen? We had 22 people from across Canada that I owe favors to because I called them. I called a whole bunch of sick people. And it's strange when you're chasing a dream how few people believe in you. Because 22 people heard the call and said, yeah, I'll testify. One of them's right there. I'll testify. I'll talk about medical marijuana in my province, in my community, and what it's been like. 22 Canadians who didn't have to testify that they're currently breaking the marijuana law. Didn't have to do that. They were brave Canadians. They stepped forward. They did this. It's the largest constitutional challenge, not just created by medical marijuana patients, but probably the largest constitutional challenge ever mounted with patients. Prostitution had 12 witnesses. They threw out all the prostitution laws. Dr. Henry Morgenthaler testified on his behalf. They threw out abortion. They threw out socialized medicine in Quebec. One guy couldn't get a hip. I have 22 witnesses. The government says that's not enough. Well, no one gave me a magic number. So one of the things that the court's also going to tell us, and maybe probably clarify for future cases, is how much medical marijuana or how much evidence is needed to be called in a constitutional challenge. Sure enough, tomorrow here at Vapor Central at 2 p.m., the media and the world will be watching. I am inviting you to join me for the best celebration because there is no marijuana law, or the best celebration because I'm going to prison. Either way, I want all my friends to be here to celebrate or commiserate. Because the reality is we have to look at these things. I've always believed that we got the government once again. In Rocky 2, he wins the title. That's right. I've built this whole game plan's been built on the movies of Rocky and George St. Pierre. When you fight the government, you fight them like you're gonna fight them. These people take no quarter. People have already said they'll appeal if they lose. Who cares? Tomorrow we celebrate or we commiserate. We'll be on POTTV starting at 2 p.m. The media's all going to be here it's going to be crazy. Chris Goodwin, as I said, will pass the word out to Jeremiah. Jeremiah will put the word out at Cannabis Culture. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at Mernagh. It's already being lit up. And you can hear the word. I'll be at Paul Lewin's office. Probably by noon the word will come out. If you hear that I am still the cannabis champion of the world, you know things are happening at Vapor Central at 2 o'clock big time. So that's it. Goodwin, do I have to say anything else? All right, I'll play a video or two. See if there's anybody in the chat room we can answer. There's not too many questions to ask at this point. We don't know. The last court ruling was mailed to us, and the guy struck down the weed law. Just arrived in the mail. Hey, the guy struck down the marijuana law. Good job on that. The fact that we don't have to show up to court tomorrow makes me kind of wonder that the same thing's happening. It's going to be fun. So we'll be No, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun tonight, too, while I can't sleep. Got a party going out into the street. I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Screw Christmas. I am not sleeping tonight.
This is Christmas for sure.
I've been bouncing around ever since you called. I don't know if everybody in here understands. Basically, tomorrow, people, if he wins, there's no more pot laws.
You can walk down the street with a bomber and they can't arrest you.
Seriously. Tomorrow, if he wins, you can walk down the street with a pound of weed in your hand. There's not going to be any more pot law.
And since you can't buy it, and since you can't buy it, you can just grow it yourself.
Yeah. It just won't exist. It won't be illegal.
It won't be illegal for you to grow and possess marijuana. That is our goal.
It'd be like tomatoes. Yeah. Actually, there'd be more laws against tomatoes.
Think so?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, our goal's just been like the Morgenthaler ruling, which Canada is one of the few Western nations that has no restrictions on abortion, and we want no restrictions on marijuana. They had their chance. They should have backed down when they've never had a crown want to fight me before.
I know. I'm blown away.
They should have backed down. I hope they want to, people want to ask about the Supreme Court. I'm not interested in talking about it. This is it.
Yeah.
Either way, I think both sides, even in pre-trial, they had a pre-trial motion. We wanted to subpoena Health Canada and get documents from them, and they said, we can't subpoena the government. This is a frivolous motion, and it took us like 5 or 6 months just to get documents from Health Canada. You guys are frivolous over there. Stop being frivolous.
Oh.
So, green shirt you're wearing, Mr. Mernagh. How you been feeling? He didn't do the case anymore. He's not responsible for the Court of Appeal. I don't know who that dumbass was.
Yeah, we'll find out.
But they're mailing it on a Friday. I think they're destroying the government and taking the week off.
Yeah.
The 3 judges are like, I got my plane tickets for Saturday. I don't know about you. I got a week off.
Friday, I strike down the pot laws. Saturday, I wake up in Bermuda.
And people don't know. There was a recent appointment to the Supreme Court of Canada. The justice was highly rumored to be one Justice Doherty.
Ooh!
Right? So he was overlooked the second time by Stephen Harper. Ooh. People don't know that. Overlooked by the Harper.
Ooh.
Maddie's doing laundry.
I feel like we got...
No courthouse meeting.
Yeah.
I will be at Vapor Central at 2 o'clock. Chris Goodwin will be joining me with Paul Loon at 11:30. You're joining me.
Yeah.
And then so we'll get the word out and we'll be here by 2.
Mm-hmm. So at 2 o'clock, we will be here, either to celebrate the fact that there's no more pot laws, or commiserate our friend Maddie going to prison. Thumbs up either way.
Neither way, it's going to be a good time. I mean, the commiseration part probably not as fun.
No.
But the celebrate part.
Oh, this is going to be a party to end all parties.
Watch that guy right there. He likes picking me up a lot.
Yeah.
He's responsible for picking me up.
Yeah, the one in the red shorts.
The one in the red shorts.
Yeah.
Are you ready? I'll do it, buddy. Didn't it to him. I should have brought the belt in, but you'll be like behind me while if we were like, doing some media scrum stuff, you'll be behind me just going, he's the champ. He's the champ, baby. That type of stuff. Can you do that? I don't want to do the between the legs crotch. No, I don't want that. You're on the one shoulder like you're a giant bear. Okay, yeah, giant bear. Okay, perfect. I suspect there'll be a whole bunch of people grabbing at me. It'll be great. Man, we can arrange that. That'd be good. So...
Can't believe the day's finally coming.
Finally, 8 months.
8 months. We didn't think it was going to take this long.
No, because they had a 90-day deadline. Now I think the court's like, why don't we think about this for a while and do something really dramatic?
We have time. It better be dramatic after this long.
Nah, no pussyfooting around. Fuck. We were either totally wrong or we were totally right.
Oh, yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
This is like in Mortal Kombat. There's definitely a fatality being thrown here.
Yeah. I feel it.
Yeah, I feel fatality.
But I feel confident that we've won, and, I think they would have called us into court and admonished me if it was bad.
Yeah.
I would have got a dressing down. Like, you, sir, are scum.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even piss on you if you were on fire.
Yeah.
Like that type of, finger wagging, you're a bad individual. You're a menace to society. I'm just going to tongue lash you for an hour, Mr. Mernagh, you piece of filth. Don't you think?
I'd like to think. Actually, I'd like to think so. Well, I mean, not really, because I know you, but, were it someone else who had done something, I'd like to think that someone would get a dressing down.
We're just getting an email. Who just sends an email? You're guilty. If you're guilty, you don't get an email. It's like, hold on a second. Compton keeps talking to me. And I'm like, hold on, it's Lou, and he says something about striking down the marijuana laws. I'm going to sit out here and talk to him. And then Paul explains what happens, and then I said to him, as I slowly sink down the wall, I'm like, holy crap, Paul, we won. We won, Paul. And then Paul just sort of Yeah, we did win. It took him like that time. He's like, I'm really professional right now. I'm really professional right now. Okay, yeah, you're right. Get a little emotional.
I heard the Tracy played the voicemails for me that you left her. All it is we won! We won! We won!
That's right. My Facebook status update to this is, this is it. Ruling comes in tomorrow. It's like 31, May 7th to February 1st. That was like when my trial ended the first time. Yeah. Well,
That's ridiculous. That's 3 times what I expected it to be.
no. So if you haven't heard, Ontario Court of Appeal will issue the ruling at 10:30 to Lewin via email. Lewin's in court, so he'll be at his office hopefully by 11:30, where I intend to just meet him. He's like, I'll just call you at 11:30. I'm like, you're not calling me. I'll meet you at the office.
So we have to wait an hour for Lewin to scamp across town.
No, he's got to go to court, deal with something else.
Yeah, but we have to wait an hour for him to actually, beyond the time he gets it, until he's going to open the email.
Man, I'm hoping it'll be like before noon.
If he gets caught in traffic, we'll be sitting at his office going, I can't get online. I can't get online.
Well, we could just sit here. Yeah. Have him call me here. Put it on the speakerphone.
No, we're going down.
We should go on to this.
Yeah, we got to go down. I've got nice shoes.
I'll put my suit on.
Yeah, I'm putting on a suit.
Me too. We'll just sit there.
Nice
go to
shoes.
the office.
Shiny shoes.
Comp will meet us at the office too.
Hey guys, again, Matt, congratulations. It's been a long time coming, and I'm glad this is happening finally. Yeah, man. But you've held. It's finally here, buddy. Today is tomorrow. Pick them up. Well,
not yet.
I don't want to break this glass, but when we get the news tomorrow and it's positive, I will ceremonial break a plate on the ground. No, I'm just waiting for Aaron to look at me and say no, man.
All right, so you're going to be here at.
But yeah, so anyways,
I
will be here first thing tomorrow morning. We open at 11. For anybody that wants to be here at 10 a.m., I will be here, and I will let the people in that are here to see the Mernagh ruling. We will sit in here. We'll be toking up together. I'll have it up on the TVs. The Twitter will be up. We'll be waiting for the word. So anybody that wants to celebrate the news, be here tomorrow morning. We open at 11, but as I said, if you're here for the Mernagh ruling, I'm at Matt Central on Twitter, so you can tweet me or call Vapor Central. It's 416-923-3556.
So come here.
Come here in the morning tomorrow and help celebrate the decision.
All the Vapor Central people, just come on here, and Matty's going to open the doors early and start getting the high on.
You got it, buddy.
Well, it's,
so what, do you have a strain that you've been setting aside, or do you have like your celebration jar
It's
of weed?
weird. It's just like the last time. I'm like between harvesting, right? I'm harvesting this weekend, and I'm almost out of weed. Just like last time. I got a bunch over there. I got to bringing in all the 90-day cured stuff. I got a bunch of huge buds.
Wait.
Like I got tons of buds.
So you're actually supposed to harvest on the weekend, right? Technically, if you lose tomorrow, you have to go home and murder all those plants.
Well, we'll find that. I have a checkmate on that.
Hey!
I have a
Come
small.
on up here. Say hello.
We'll say hello to RJ afterwards. So that's it. Matty Oliver will be here to greet people and help people out. Put the Twitter stream on, and Chris Goodwin can just give him a call. When I hear, Goodwin will call you. So Goodwin will call you.
It'll be online.
And then he'll call Jeremiah. So Goodwin, your phone calls list will be when I hear, you hear, then Matty Oliver hears, and then you'll quickly call Jeremiah. So CC hears. Holy crap, it's hard to figure all this out. But that's the way it will probably not work out.
Yeah.
It probably works someone like that.
Yeah, we're going to have the best
I got to call my mom.
Best of intentions, worst of executions.
Because we're going to be stoned and celebratory.
Huh? Yeah.
Stoned and commiserate.
Yeah. We're going to be high, and we'll either be cheering or crying.
I'm going to have a lot of a lot of weed to get rid of by smoking it all then if it's bad.
Compton was laughing at me at the back because I'm like, I know I'm going to be screaming. You'll just have to tell from the tone if it's like, yeah, or if it's, ah.
Big weed party at Vapor Central, 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Roll your doobies. Pack your bombs.
Couple cannons.
We be getting high. I'll be dabbing like a bastard.
Any questions in the chat, good one? Everybody not confused? I'm confused.
I'm confused.
Not confused.
No. What is it?
So we're trying to get to the chat because I don't see the chat. We're not even prepared for this part either.
Are there appropriate
But I bet
questions?
you there's probably like 75, 100 viewers. It's probably the largest number of people we get right now. I kid you not.
Yeah.
And we're just like completely unprofessional right now.
Off the cuff with Mernagh.
It's crazy. Big party, Vapor Central, 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Just Tuesday, I was posting photos going, toking with Mernagh. Jealous?
People were stressing. Like a lot of people have been stressing online. Like every day, I get a message. Hey, is the ruling coming down yet? Oh, I can take messages on my Twitter.
Bravo 420 asks, how does it affect him in Alberta?
Well, here's what's going to happen, and most people are unfamiliar with this other part of the attack.
I know this one, but go ahead.
Do you know this one?
I think
when
I know.
the Court of Appeal, we knock it down here in Ontario, I'm doing a cross-Canada tour, and we'll see what happens. Because effectively, the Ontario Court of Appeal is one of the kind of weightiest courts in the country, and the other courts like to follow suit. So we would hope that our friends in Alberta, they might be a bit further down, but our friends in BC will probably be, if I'm Friday, the law in British Columbia will fall on Monday. Quebec will be like, all right, well, free La France, there'll be Tuesday.
I'll have to go east to represent you, because you don't...
The Halifax people will probably be like,
don't...
so it'll just be like, it'll be weird, because it'll be like, oh, no weed law in Ontario. And then, like, Monday, the BC court will be like, well, yeah, of course, we agree. And it'll just be like constant, like this big... We know this because this was what happened when the possession charge hit.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, yeah, weed in Ontario, possession is legal. And then like a few days later, yeah, weed's legal in Vancouver and British Columbia, more reason to celebrate. And it just sort of happened everywhere except I think Saskatchewan.
Land of the flat.
One of the neat things that has been put in effect is there's possibilities that there might be grace periods put in there. There might be a grace period put in there. Now, our friends at the Canadian Civil Liberties Association submitted an application at the Court of Appeal that has said this: if there is a grace period and the police were to find someone with marijuana plants or possessing marijuana, they would have to simply give them a court date till after the grace period and give your marijuana back. That's what the Canadian Civil Liberties Association argument. They were like, hey, we think...
Seems like a reasonable request.
Well, what ended up happening after, as I said, when the possession laws fell, I think 3,500 people were still found guilty during the period of there was no marijuana law.
Yeah.
So we don't want to repeat any of those problems.
And the court knows this.
Well, they were made aware of it through the Canadian Civil Liberties Association's application.
Exactly.
So their suggestion is, well, if there is a period of invalidity, like this grace period, we suggest that the police simply ticket people
Everything
for
should
a court
be a
date.
push. Yeah.
So anyway, anything else back there? Good one? Well, sit by Naomi. There's some really good hash
Naomi's
over
back
there.
I'm
in
just
the
trying to roll a
canister.
joint.
She
Jeremiah's
can't see
asking
you,
why
but-
we're not actually on POTTV right now. It crashed 6 times in a row. I don't know. I go to the cam and it's a black screen, and as soon as I go to live streams, Vapor Central, it works perfectly.
Huh.
So I'm not sure what's going on there.
What's Jeremiah saying?
He's just asking. He doesn't know why we're not on POTTV at the moment.
Oh.
I switched over to the Vapor Central live stream, and some of the people came over here. I'm not sure what's going on with POTTV. Maybe we have too many videos in the on demand and the feeds and stuff. Maybe we got to start just deleting half of the stuff there. That might be causing a lag. I'm not sure what's going on. But we are live.
Well,
that's good.
I'm sucking up a lot of bandwidth tonight, too.
Yeah.
The last time this happened, it crashed my website so bad it was down for 45 days. It was like a log jam. Just a log jam that took a while to fix. But even almost knocked down the end. It did take out the end prohibition website, or the Y prohibition website, sorry. Cannabis Culture did really good too.
We get a lot of web traffic when this stuff happens.
It's gonna be a big one.
I bet when I get home and on the computer, I've had some YouTube hits today.
I hope so.
Oh, I put your name and everything.
Oh, bastard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Doing a dab at the bar. Tag that with Mernagh.
You tag me as everything.
Get me some web traffic.
All right, well.
Is there any other questions, Chris?
I don't know, half the chat saying they have video, and now a couple of them are saying they have a black screen, but I'm not sure because I changed over POTTV's thing. I don't know, I'm sorry.
My Twitter's blowing up. The hashtag tomorrow will be RV Mernagh.
RV Mernagh?
That's the hashtag, good one. Jeremiah. That'd be cool if that was a trend. That would be life complete. Wouldn't it? That was a Twitter trend? That would be life complete.
Marijuana definitely has to be a Twitter trend. And it could be tomorrow. If this is a bombshell that we hope it is, this is the Ontario Court of Appeals. This is the highest court in the land outside of Supreme Court of Canada. So it's the biggest court responsible for 12 million people. Regardless of which way they go, it's going to be huge. It's going to be breaking news.
Man, the CP24 truck's going to be out front. They'll be broadcasting live. I suspect CP24 will be like, live from Vapor Central. It's just like the Toronto Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup.
Shit, I didn't go to the club today.
Well, better get weed tomorrow. Mac, you'll be able to grow by on the weekend.
We'll definitely have the global marijuana march then.
Maybe I can grow by the weekend. Yeah.
That's for sure. May 4th, Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Global marijuana march. That's only for Toronto. The rest of the people get to just hold up a sign in their global marijuana march for global marijuana march.
Let's not get into that.
RJ and I went to the theater this week. Man. Crazy days of mental craziness. So we can't see the chat because we're up here, but if you haven't heard, Ontario Court of Appeal, be here at starting at 10 a.m. Matty Oliver is going to open the doors and get people psyched up and ready to go. I should have the word out by noon, and it's also, the ruling will be out on the Ontario Court of Appeal website, and we're trying to kind of get it organized. But regardless, 2 o'clock. Well, the good thing is Lewin will be done this day. We can drag him back to Vapor Central. Cool. Oh, nice. It's a little blurry, but... There it is. It's too blurry. My eyes aren't that blurry yet. They'd see. I'd be able to see it once I'm that blurry.
Holy shit, if I take my glasses off, I can actually almost read that. Sitting in a...
All right, so the order will be, the telephone game will be Goodwin to Matty Oliver at Vapor Central, and then Goodwin to Jeremiah. We're just not trying, we're just make sure the word goes out. You probably see it on my Twitter stream after I'm done crying. because I won't be able to tweet right away. That's why Goodwin will be able to make some calls and stuff. It'll be pretty simple. My tweet's already been prepared. My tweet has been prepared for months.
I'm gonna have a nice chonger to roll up with some honey or purple kush butter to put all over it.
Yeah. So the party's here, 2 p.m. Why the commiseration?
So I found out that it was released by looking at the release of judgments. I found
How
out
do you
like,
check that thing every day, right?
I check that thing every day, and when I have the time before work, I look at the decisions that are being released, and I just copy and paste it to Google, and I look up the decisions. And I've been doing that for a long time now, and I've found out a lot of interesting stuff. So my question for you is going to be, at what point am I going to be able to put R versus Mernagh into Google and get a decision and be able to read it online?
The Ontario Court of Appeal will be releasing it to the public at noon.
Okay, but we will get the
That's
news
noon
from
Eastern. Yes.
The news we're gonna get it first.
We're gonna try and beat the public.
That's right.
I'm gonna try and tell my friends first.
We've got the telephone line connected.
We're all
the
connected.
Chain of command is
So it'll probably be right around the same time as we hear it'll be out. We'll have already,
Yeah.
But I mean, it's weird because Paul Lewin's a lawyer. He's in court tomorrow at 10:30 with another case, right? So.
And that doesn't always mean he's gonna get in right at 10:30 either. Sometimes, right?
I think.
I've been to court at 10 o'clock and then not being seen till like fucking.
I think tomorrow all he has to do is sit in front of a couple of lawyers and be like, I don't know, feel comfortable with this calling idea.
No.
See you in person. That's what it's looking like. And if it does stay, if Paul's like, no, I'll just call you. And if he's just like that, no, don't come to the office, I'll just call you. I'll be like, fuck, I'll just go to Vapor Central at 10 o'clock.
Well.
Oh. That'll be the backup plan. And then you guys can all hear it on speakerphone.
I'm not going to get any sleep tonight.
Well, you're not going to. I'm scattered already.
I should just come over to your place. This is going to be.
You can sleep on the leather couch.
Sleep? We can play Wii.
Oh, that's. Oh, man.
All right, Wii party at Mernagh's.
Wii party.
Wii party. Wii.
That's what we got going on. If you haven't heard and you're just tuning in onto we're on POTTV. Good one. We're back on POTTV. If you're just tuning into POTTV, the R.V. Mernagh ruling is being dropped by the Ontario Court of Appeal tomorrow. Paul Lewin should have an email. It'll be live at Court of Appeal website at noon. And we'll be here at Vapor Central starting 2 o'clock with a party to end all parties.
I think you're getting a dab.
I think we're dabbed up.
Dabbing it up. We're doing dabs here tomorrow, celebrating the news, the release of information that we've been so long waiting.
So, my 2 goals for tomorrow. Outside of the court ruling, getting R.V. Mernagh to be a Twitter trend. So make sure you hashtag R.V.
Hashtag the shit out of R.V.
Google trend the new Twitter trend that. And also be great to be a Google News trend again. So if we can Google News trend that. But one of the greatest goals would be a CT24 parks their news truck just right out front. It's like slaps up the antenna and starts broadcasting live from
the truck because they don't want to. They're gonna.
They'll come up here.
Yeah,
they're CP24.
We'll have it nicely hotboxed for them.
Oh, they'll be stoned out of their gizzards.
They'll be hitting the munchie bar in the back for sure.
This will be like when the Jays won the World Series.
But this is what I'm thinking. It's going to be the year that Mernagh toppled the Pot Laws, the Leafs win the Stanley Cup, then the Blue Jays win the World Series.
I believe in a lot of things, but I don't believe in the Leafs part.
Well, there's still a lot of time in the season left.
Let's focus on the brighter prospects of the Jays.
The Jays are favorites to win the World Series now.
I know, they should send me tickets.
Well, there's going to be a lot of games to go to this summer.
Well, that's right. So, now I intend to do the Cross Canada Tour, I hope. But, so people don't know, and then just follow me online, follow me on Twitter, follow Goodwin. Jeremiah will try and have the the word on cannabis culture as quickly as possible, and then just hand me the phone once he fills Jeremiah again. And you know, any media that call, I'll be here. But to make it good, and you know, my friend Jim Richards at News Talk 1010's been there with me, so I'm going to be trying to get on News Talk 1010 at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I wanted to come up and talk with Mernagh.
So,
Find
10
out about
o'clock
that.
here, buddy?
10 o'clock here. And are you guys going to head here after?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's why I said by 2 o'clock I'll be here no later than. I might even be here at 10 o'clock, you know.
Sneak and get
Well,
it
see,
live.
that kind of makes me
It would have been real fun to get the decision live in a courtroom, live on POTTV.
Dude, it's
but-
weird that they're not doing that.
Well, I thought, looking at that thing every day online, I eventually thought that that's how they were going to do it. But no, they really, the first thing they do is that your lawyer gets a hard copy. And,
No, the lawyer will get his hard copy, and then they put it out. Which is different than what they did for the mayor. Right? Because they called the mayor into court.
That wasn't a court of appeal, though, was it?
Yeah, recently at Court of Appeal, the mayor was in court.
I see.
You just see a lot of media jumping into...
It was a nice butter purple kush, Dad. One for you coming up.
So, 2 p.m. regardless.
I'm going to get you some water.
All right. So we'll be live on POTTV. We'll start opening her all up and at 2 o'clock, and be doing press conference, I suspect.
So we do News Talk 1010?
At 1 o'clock.
Cool.
It hasn't been confirmed or anything. I just texted, you know, Britt, and it was like, hey.
I'm guessing they'll want to talk to you.
I'm guessing they would want to talk to me, too.
You win. I'm calling CBC and PEI.
I suspect the CBC in the morning will call.
There was a guy...
There's nothing like news media calling you at 6. Hey, we hear that ruling's coming. How do you feel? Actually, really stress relief. You know, I feel better than I felt 5 hours ago.
Yeah.
I feel like, fuck, glad that thing's over with.
Oh, yeah, he needs that water, Matty.
Alright, are we good? Yep. Does everybody know what we're doing tomorrow? No, yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody? So noon it'll be out to the public, but you might hear it a little bit quicker.
Check Twitter, follow at Mernagh. Check the hashtag RV.
You know, you won't have to read 300. You don't want to read 300 pages. Just follow me at noon.
That was a lot of pages. On the first one, I was on page 79. And that barely scratched the surface.
So it's MERNAGH. Hashtag is RV Mernagh. It was fat. It was 112, which is an exceedingly large Superior Court ruling, actually. I'm hoping for, I'd like to see 150.
It was a big PDF.
Yep. All right, so that's the news. POTTV land, RV Mernagh has arrived tomorrow. William will get it sent to him.
I don't know if I'm happier that we have warning this time or if I just wish they had dropped it on us. Well, at least this time we get people together.
Yep. This time we can, like, we're ready.
Oh, yeah. We're going to party like it's 2013.
Well, most people don't know, as I said, following the Rocky theme. Rocky didn't win in Rocky 1. Rocky 2, he totally wins, which is what the Court of Appeal is. Yeah. He didn't lose in the first one. There's no decision or no contest. Wasn't it?
Something like that.
That's the POTTV people, good one.
POTTV's doing good. We were black screened for about 10 minutes during some of the stuff you were trying to talk about, so some people want some stuff repeated, but...
Okay, we can repeat stuff one more time, right?
There's like 50 viewers still online.
All right. So, the Mernagh ruling comes in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Watch POTTV at 2 o'clock. Follow me at Mernagh1 on Twitter. The ruling's released to the public on the Ontario Court of Appeal website at noon. I'm emailed to my lawyer at 10:30. We should find out about noon when we're talking about it by then. So just, it'll be happening right with real time. I'm going to be here to celebrate serious Toronto Blue Jay style, like they won the World Series, by 2 o'clock, and do a press conference. But mostly just celebrate at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's
about it.
That's the plan.
We're getting high as fuck tomorrow.
It's the Ontario Court of Appeal is going to strike down the marijuana laws for possession and growing.
Should be fun times.
Matty Oliver here at 10 o'clock. Open in Vapor Central if people want to gather here at VC. Chris Goodwin's going to call him as soon as we know something.
Party here at 2.
Party here at 2. Is that it?
That's it.
Is that it, Goodwin? Are we good?
I think that's good. All right, up top.
Hey, POTTV, can you hear this? Hello? Hey, Bravo 420, heard it? Oh, this is cool. So I can, sit and read the chat. What's going on out there?
Hey, POTTV, just letting you know that we're not going through the speakers right now in the room, the house speakers. I have it set up the way I have my ceiling mic set up. So I actually don't know how loud we're being because we're also playing XM music. So the room can hear the XM Sirius satellite radio, but they can't hear this microphone. This microphone is only being sent to you guys. The level's okay, I'm seeing. Music is kind of loud, yeah. Could go a bit louder on the vocals. So yeah, I just wanted to see, because I'm going to actually maybe get Mernagh to sit up in the front right corner, and or something like that. And we got comedy at 9, so that's in another hour. Oh, yeah, Mernagh can hang out back here.
Hang out back here, because then I can see the chat kind of. Where's the other camera? There we go, we're good. Perfect. All right, we're... Well, we haven't heard anything yet, but it's weird. It's just like, hey, don't come to court. We'll just mail it to you. And the last time they mailed it to Paul, and it was amazing news too. So I can't see it. Like I said, I feel like if I did something wrong, I feel like I had been admonished. Like, you, sir, are bad. You're a menace to society. And get, judge finger-wagging time. I mean, they called Mayor Ford in. I'm not getting called in. I think that's because everybody's like, oh, man, I got my vacation booked tomorrow. How about you? Oh, yeah, I start Monday, too. Yeah. Don't worry about that Mernagh guy. Oh, it's a perfect time. Let's sign today, go to vacation on Monday. Yeah, they told me to bring a toothbrush. You, sir, are going directly to prison. You admitted to doing this for years. What's going on? How many? POTTV. I know our live stream's gonna be huge by tomorrow. All right, we'll see what's going on back here. I got a soda I'm gonna grab. I got soda over there. Now, what do you think? Do you think we can get CP24 to be like broadcasting live from Vapor Central? I think we might be able to do that. No.
Yes, me a fling down reality, the youth, them a dead for hungry. When me come, said you know me welcome. When me come, a me a mass ya come. When me come, say you know me welcome. You know say put the wrong thing, just a blossom.
Said another thing I saw in vision, right in front these eyes.
From behind.
Sisters prostituting, selling away their lives.
Because them not earn nothing.
They get but very little pay. The ones who cleans a mess.
$100.
Minority who sits on top just rates themselves the best. But I see the fire spreading. It's getting hotter and hot. Haves will wanna be in the shoes of the have-nots. The sign is on your door.
From his 1977 acclaimed album Equal Rights, Peter Tosh, Accept Me as I Am That I Am.
Check, check. Can you hear me? Now they can.
Yeah. Sorry about that. When we were switching the XM over to reggae, I somehow... Oh, jeez. Call me Mr. Marius Goodwin. Oh, I don't know if that was bad, but I'm just...
Chris Stoner.
Oh, Chris Stoner. That's also good, too. Sorry, no, we love Marius and everything he does.
Awesome. Just works hard and it's clear.
He should be in Best of Friends. I think they're on tonight. On tonight on the comedy show, Third Class Thursdays. I'm never on mic here on POTTV. We are live in Vapor Central, 666.
So is this my last day of freedom? It could be. It could be my last day of... just to somewhat clarify, there would be essentially a hearing date set for my sentencing, and we have a full day planned for the sentencing hearing, where Paul intends to introduce all the evidence he requires to then further knock down the mandatory min. So he's like, I'll just load up on your sentencing hearing, so I have all the evidence I need on future cases. And the Canadian Civil Liberties Association has also agreed to do that. So I'd have to call in a lot of references and whatnot, but it could be. I mean, they could come back and say, hey, we're going to overturn a 112-page ruling. It's not something the Court of Appeal takes lightly, as we saw for the last 8 months. We're not going to see. I don't think they can, I don't believe they're going to get there.
Mernagh, what do you think about, have you read Paul McKeever's blog yet? The one that was posted today?
I tried to read it and then I got the email from Lewin. But I like what Paul McKeever suggests, and I don't want to I'm a bit opposite of Mr. McKeever, as people kind of know, and my idea, worst case scenario, is I'm going to ask my friend MPP Jonah Shen to work with put me in front of the Ontario caucus and give me an opportunity for my suggestion, which would be, if this medical marijuana program stands up and it beats the 90-day deadline, should the court give them the 90-day deadline? It's clearly, obviously, the federal government's ready to go. I would like to see the Ontario NDP strike down the word marijuana in the Nurse Practitioner Act. And at least we'd be working with the federal government. And then I would like to see Compassion Club simply hire nurse practitioners. You can hire them right off your website. So Mr. McKeever has a very good idea. I'm sure it's Paul McKeever. He doesn't want, I have a bit of a different idea, and I also am kind of fortunate to have a member of parliament right now. So
I guess his position is that if we just made a law that said nurse practitioners and even doctors are banned, because it's a weird thing, because he knows, like you just said, there right now is legislation that says nurse practitioners can't sign medical marijuana forms. And so why is that so? Why is there already a piece of legislation that is already preventing nurse practitioners? And then so just to continue that question to a second point would be then, if there is such a law that can prevent the medical authorities like a doctor or a nurse practitioner from prescribing marijuana, what if we made it law in Ontario?
Well, nurse practitioners, to be clear, are prevented from prescribing heroin and other drugs. In BC, in British Columbia, they're not allowed. They have a list of drugs they're allowed to prescribe. So in British Columbia, they'd have to have one added to the list. I mean, it's an interesting idea Mr. McKeever put forward. From what I quickly read, and I have to look at I have to work with what I got. This is the hand I'm being dealt with. And the hand we're being dealt with is this, and, when you're being dealt a hand at a table, and that's how I feel, I'm at a table, and what's the cards on the table? And I think the cards I can play would be, well, maybe I can convince some Ontario New Democrats it'd be a good idea to strike down that provision and allow nurse practitioners to do it, because the feds are going to come to court and say, here's what they would do. And this is what's stupid, Chris, is that they would say, well, we fixed the Mernagh problem of doctors as gatekeepers. We've added nurse practitioners.
You just said that you want that. You would actually ask your NDP government to somehow push for that.
No, I'm asking for them to do it right away, because that's what the feds have asked.
Okay, so if they did it right away, though, McKeever's position is the same as mine, which is that if nurse practitioners, it's expanded access, which is literally what that is. Your case isn't even about expanded access. It's about, who cares if we sign up 200,000 people, and nurse practitioners are the ones that are signing the other 180,000. They really blow this thing up and sign up hundreds of thousands of people. There's still going to be Matt Mernagh and John Doe and Sally, whatever out there that can't get signed. They could go back into court like you.
Well, that's what well, sure, but those are remember, I just said the hands I'm being dealt with, being that there could be a new federal government. But see, this is what the point I'll go with you is, you just said there's always going to be someone. And that's what the federal government ended with in my court. They said there's always going to be someone. And I think the Court of Appeal is going to say, given that there's always going to be someone who's going to want or use medical marijuana, we're going to strike down the two pieces of offending legislation. And then we'll leave trafficking in the hands of the government.
So that's the best outcome, which is that they're going to strike down possession and production. Well, then there's no need for an MMPR or an MMAR. They're both going to be moot points. It would be silly to have a medical marijuana program, whatever, access regulations or anything, and people having DPLs and ATPs. What would be the point? None.
Some people will say, hey, I can't grow, but I would, as I said, they would leave trafficking in the hands of the government. As I said, the best outcome that we all want is that the courts will strike down those two offending pieces of law. And there would be no need for a program, because most people would start growing their own, and they continue to grow their own.
Production is cultivation, which a lot of people aren't aware of, but people will be able to cultivate. They'll be able to grow whatever they want in the realm of personal production, personal cultivation. And you're right, trafficking wouldn't be affected. So if you tried to, I don't care if you had raw bud or plants, if you have 1,000 of them and you're growing them for the purposes of trafficking, or you are trafficking them, I guess those two charges,
And I would hope that, Well, Doc Chronic says feds will still license commercial growers to create industry to make money regardless.
No, well, I mean, some people would say, hey, I can't grow, and that's why the court will leave trafficking in the hands of the government, because that is their, it's the government money. But as Chris likes to say, if you know someone who grows vegetables, often when you go to that person, they grow so many vegetables that they give some away.
They're begging you. Most people that grow tomatoes, my God, they make stews and chilies and sauces, and then they still have baskets and baskets and baskets. They're begging you to take a basket.
Buddhist porn star's mom set me up with some of the most incredible, more vegetables than I ever had in my entire life. Like I had to take it was crazy. I was like, oh my God, I'd never do this much shopping. So, but Doc Chronic's like, oh, how many do? Only 5% would. Yeah, this is live blind big. Mernagh ruling coming in, buddy, tomorrow. So I know. Well, some people are like, oh, they don't see what I'm trying to get at, given the worst case scenario, and that somehow the MPPR is in effect, and they beat the deadline. I would ask the Ontario NDP to introduce a private members bill, which is pretty rare and hard to do, but I would ask them to say, hey, look, fuck, at least work with what we got.
Paul McKeever actually spent, I'm not sure if he's even still online. His blog post actually might even be able to explain it better, but I'm not sure if some of this stuff was in the blog post. Your whole point about
I'm saying if I lose.
It's about Morgan Tyler, the abortion doctor, and how your case mimics it, and there's a lot of comparisons and valid ones. One of the things Paul McKeever has been studying over the last few days is that I guess there was another fellow from probably the Christian right, I don't want to generalize, but he wanted to go after the government because they had a program at the time for legal access to abortions, right? Doctors were a gatekeeper, and let's say halfway through this program, nurse practitioners also got added somehow, like our
McKeever's in the chat.
I can see that now. So I hope I'm giving his argument justice.
Well, McKeever's argument is good, but
this is a specific point. I'm not sure if it's in his blog, which is that this guy, during the time, or maybe before Morgan Tyler finally got to a high court, this guy went after the government and either tried to sue them or somehow bring down, or maybe legislatively, tried to bring down the government's legal access to abortion. But for his Christian reasons, right? He didn't want people to have access to abortion. And then all of a sudden a Morgan Tyler comes along claiming that the program's an illusion. It doesn't even really give women access to legal abortions, and I'm going to commit illegal abortions. I'm going to do them illegally. And he's obviously charged probably a bunch of times, a bunch of clinics in a bunch of provinces, and then he finally gets to a high enough court that they strike it all down.
I'm going to move on to Stud. He says if the government legalizes weed, I'm going to go with Chris's point, but if the government legalizes weed, then they will be able to collect taxes on it and something, but I'm not going to point on that. The government will never do something, and they haven't in a very long time in Canada. They never, ever, ever get involved in moral issues. Marijuana, gay marriage. Gay marriage only went through the legislature because the Liberals thought maybe they could hold on to power by doing that. They're like, man, if we can win there. So that was the only time they did that. But abortion's never been before the before the federal government. Some of these issues that are, the right to die, medical marijuana, these are things politicians don't want to talk about. Politicians want to say vague statements like, I'm improving the economy. What are you doing? I mean, if you look at the debate with John Baird and Bob Rae, all they're doing is what's known as theatrics. Like, oh, blah, 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 and that's how they treat marijuana. Nobody really wants to. I mean, the NDP have a long record of doing it private when they're like, we're not even in power. I can do something stupid like legalizing marijuana, right? And get the party and news attention. That's when they talk about marijuana. When they're way out of power, they talk about marijuana to get them news.
I'm actually arguing that this might be the exact same scenario. A guy like Morgenthaler comes around with a social issue that nobody politically wants to touch. It's hot. It would get them in trouble. It's a good thing for them politically and legally just to leave it alone. The courts already deal with it. A judge strikes something down, and then politically you just say, we're going to leave that issue alone. But here's the thing. At the same time, there was a guy, like in abortion, that wanted the program not to exist. So isn't it the same thing with a medical marijuana program? Like, there could be people out there that don't want you guys using drugs even for medical use. There could be a hardcore anti-prohibition.
Yeah, there probably might creep up.
And imagine they were suing the government right now to get rid of the program because they think it gives you guys all more access to drugs, right? But Mernagh comes along and strikes down the law. Now there's no need for a government program. Obviously this is for different reasons, right? The anti-prohibitionist in this model, in this comparison, would want you to not have access to medical marijuana that he thinks are drugs.
I'm going to touch on, so if they do those, in terms of leaving the reason of trafficking is upheld, we're on a roll on the last day in the trial court, and both lawyers were throwing down case law on top of case law. And it ended with the judge was well, Mr. Loon, what would you like me to do? And Paul was like, well, we'd like you to throw out the marijuana law for possession and production. And Paul was like, how about because Paul was really on fire. The two lawyers were fighting back and forth. And he's like, and trafficking too, Your Honor. And the judge stopped them at that point and says, well, I'm not even going to consider trafficking. And the Crown was like, well, I don't think you should even consider possession. Mernaugh's only charged with producing it for himself. And the judge is like, well, that's just silly. He's clearly has to possess it. So it got to the point where then the judge looked at Mr. Lewin and he said, your client admitted to growing it for himself. Now, if you read the Mernagh ruling, the judge leaves the door open for someone to come along to challenge the trafficking law. He's like, maybe this government program's crap and people need to buy it. Not everybody can grow their own. I encourage everyone to do that. So I'm only pointing out with the medical marijuana program regulations, should we be dealt a really bad hand tomorrow? You say, well, there's a few scenarios. Prison's a possibility, but if I had to work with the federal government's medical marijuana program and I don't want to, my worst case scenario is asking the NDP caucus to do something about it in Ontario. And then at least I feel like, okay, well, fuck, at least I did something. Because even at the worst end.
But that's what I was asking you about a minute ago, which is that what would you ask them to do? One of the... If you strike down the offending word marijuana in the medical legislation that doesn't allow nurse practitioners to sign, that would grant them the legal right to continue prohibition.
No, I said in the worst case scenario. I said, should the ruling go real sideways? Because the feds never even act. The real news story that Chris is missing is, the real news story is, the feds never talked to their provincial counterparts about this nurse practitioner thing. Never asked. Well, they could. I don't know. They could do that. I don't know. Well, see, then maybe because if the federal government would have 90 days to implement. Well, they have 90 days to implement a new medical marijuana program. It's clearly, obviously, that they're going to be able to beat the deadline. Look at it. However, what the feds have not counted on is that we have a grumpy Ontario Court of Appeal judge who is just batshit crazy enough to strike down both laws, and he's not crazy at all. That's what makes it weird. Guys, yeah. He's just I've been overlooked from the Supreme Court twice. I'm knocked down, I mean, the guy knocked down and wrote the piece on how he did prostitution. The guy just decimated prostitution. Decimated it. So...
prostitution laws, right? Living off the avails, soliciting for the purpose, and or communicating for the purpose, and then owning a common body house. Those 3 laws were completely struck down by these same 3 judges at the Ontario Court of Appeals, right?
So they're a feisty bunch. They're a feisty bunch.
Criticizing them lately, right? The Freedom Party's been saying that, what the hell's taking them 8 months? He looked at the last 30 judgments over the last 3 weeks, 5 or 6 a day. Every single one of them follows up a thing. They were all done September 1st to the 5th, then 5th to the 10th, 10th to the 15th, 15th to the 20th, all of September. The ruling tomorrow, there's a ruling R.V. Ortega's or whatever it is, and then R.V. Mernagh. The Ortega's one or whatever, I'm sorry I'm saying that name wrong, was done in November 2012. So that case was heard just a few months ago. And that decision is coming out with yours tomorrow.
That's why I have a good feeling about this. They're just like, hey, I want to strike down the marijuana law, but if I wait too soon, they won't think I pondered it long enough. That's why I think, it took them a long time when prostitution took a year.
Outside of the fact that they might do some sort of sideways loop even on that whole 90 days thing or whatever, but if you win and yeah, I gotta grab your shit. Swearing on POTTV. But I'm so excited about this that if R.V. Mernagh wins, there's going to be a day legally that marijuana will be of no force and effect, both possession and production of a plant, cultivation.
I think that day's tomorrow. But I don't think there's a time limit. I
actually kind of agree, because the last time there was a period of invalidity or whatever it is that gives the government a specific amount of time until that they have to fix it or it doesn't fix the Constitution would be that 1 year, right? And then they did the whole, they were sued for 2-to-1 or 1-to-1, and then they made it 2-to-1. And they were given similar type of deadlines. Your judge, there's a great quote specifically on the fact that if I gave the government another year, I would be doing Canadians a disservice almost. It would almost be a slap in my face. You can't fool me twice kind of thing. So, and that was your superior court. So now we're at the Ontario Court of Appeals that looks at this and sees all these year deadlines that they missed by a day. They put in a new regulation the day before, and it keeps getting challenged.
And Justice Doherty said he didn't want to come back. So what we see with the judge is what most people miss is that Health Canada was almost found in contempt of court. And it just sort of went real bad on them. They were giving evidence on the witness stand, and she just said to Paul Lewin during cross-examination, I don't want to answer that question. And the justice turned, and at this point, I had testified, all the sick people had testified. It had been a real kind of cozy, one of the witnesses, he said to them, "Oh, please don't stand on honor when I leave. You can't walk very well." He was like, "Oh man, we're really doing well here." He's listening. Well, I know when we win, I'm going to be tweeting and still cannabis champion of the world. Yeah. If we lose, it will probably be God damn it. God damn it. And just to be clear, some of the... that's...
Is that how this works? Yeah? Oh, man. The belt's going to go to the dark side.
We'll mail it to Stephen Harper.
Mail the belt to Stephen Harper? I think you can get arrested for that.
Even better, we could give it to the NDP to present to him at question period or something.
Well, as long as we give them 48 hours notice and send them an email, say we're coming.
Yeah, well, there we go. And the other thing is I would seek leave to appeal to the Supreme Court of Canada. The Ontario government's on the hook for $60,000 so far into this case. Some of the things people don't see is that Senator Pierre-Claude Nolan's testimony in the VIX, we bought that for $1,000. Vapor Central flew a woman in from Edmonton, or even somewhere in Alberta that wasn't Edmonton. It was even smaller than that. to give personal testimony, and he put her up for the night at Vapor. We put Vapor Central money towards that. One of our first activism projects. $750 airfare. So what else? We had, as I said, 22 witnesses, 4 experts. We had the leading expert on the pharmaceutical industry, and it looked like Justice Doherty completely dismissed us on the pharmaceutical industry point. I think if he got into the testimony and discovered that we called the leading expert on on the pharmaceutical industry, not just some schmo. I think once you got into that testimony, you would be moved. Thank you. So tomorrow, tomorrow the ruling comes in. Noon, the Ontario Court of Appeal puts it out publicly. Trying to answer some messages. Someone's like, do you have anybody writing your press release? I'm like, the best part of this, we don't even have to write one. The media will just come to us. How the media side sort of will work, they check the media release website, and I'm quite connected at News Talk 1010. I've already contacted their news editor, Justine Lekowski, to tell her that, hey, ruling comes in tomorrow. I've already emailed and messaged my friend Britt, who's the news producer at News Talk 1010's Jim Richards show, which starts at 1 o'clock. And I said, ruling comes down at noon. I would like to meet you at the Jim Richards show at 1 o'clock. So we intend to, ideally go straight from Lewin's office, jump in a cab, and be on Jeremiah's show tomorrow. Jeremiah, by the time we do your show, I bet you it'll be like several hundred viewers. Always sucks, man. We get few on ours, and we do the big POTTV stuff, and it's always, but it'll be great. I'll be vacationing in Vancouver soon enough.
I was asking a few hours ago about the schedule tomorrow. He's going live at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific for Cannabis Culture News Live, obviously. And Matt Mernagh is going to be a guest on that show. We'll do a Skype interview somehow.
The plan will be to get us up on the stage at 2 o'clock. And the party starts here at Vapor Central, 2 o'clock. And that's 11 p.m. Pacific. 11 a.m. Pacific. Goodwin's good. Vapor Central's opening its doors at 10 a.m. Goodwin's going to call Matty Oliver at about noon with the word. And then he's calling Jer. He'll call you next. The decision will be out by then. I'll have been advised by Lewin. So I guess, Goodwin, you're going to join me at Lewin's office, right?
I'll be there. I'll probably be reading it for about 20 to 30 minutes before we tweet it. I need to, sink it in. I don't know, man.
And you'll probably have to read the online copy unless Ruth prints it out.
I don't mind if Lewin just shows me a summary, but I'll read it over 2 or 3 times.
What'll happen is that Paul will go. He'll be at the office, and
Paul is going to have to do something a little bit more specific, like read 12 pages that makes sure he's aware of the decision and which way it went.
No, I suspect I can just read the last page.
Well, that's also on the first page, too. I think they do that. No, they don't do that? Because they do a little, whatever, it doesn't matter.
The last page will tell me whether I'm going to jail or not. That's all,
We resolved that. Is Cannabis Champion of the World. Or we got the title back. Put him in cuffs. And we have a sentencing hearing.
We all rest on, it's pretty much there. So we will be at Vapor Central 2 o'clock. The reason we're going to be on the POTTV network, Chris, is that we're anticipating trying to coordinate some sort of media effort when the word starts going out of Lewin's office. We'll just try and say, hey, I intend to be at Vapor Central at 2. Therefore, all the media can just meet us here. We can just do all our media conference. Given that Paul's in court in the morning, he should not have anything to do in the afternoon.
So Paul's going to come?
One would think he'd be allowed to finally leave his office. The guy works like a mad dog.
If we lose, though, I'm never going to see him for another year.
Well, remember, we have leave to appeal. And if
like, the Supreme Court gets something like 200-300 cases a year or something, at least submitted or something. They only grant leave to appeal to, I don't know how many, 3%. You know the numbers probably better than I know.
But what they'll have the issue is that my ruling is going to be a big fat ruling. It's a big fat ruling. It's just, these are the ones that, go the distance, so to speak.
Be like the My Big Fat Gypsy ruling.
Big fat ruling. Someone's like, an appeal wouldn't happen in my opinion, which we think, they strike the weed law down in Ontario. She follows me on Twitter. I'm just relying on my own media, you can feel free to contact any media you want. Because but the media generally is going to be looking at the, they have in Toronto, they have, the guy from the Sun who checks the court, what's going on at Court of Appeal this week. Oh crap, that Mernagh guy. This is the one we've been waiting for. It's kind of, after all the years of doing the rallies we've done so much that we're easily to get media. It's very easy for us to, they'll find us. Especially, my biggest plan in terms of media releases is simply to walk into News Talk 1010 and give them the prize, so to speak. Which is the...
like, anytime Mark used to, when I had more free fucking time. But whenever Mark would get a big news story that just pops out of the blue, like we were waiting, anticipating, whatever. Sometimes I'm at home, and you guys could do the same. I'm working right now, but feel free to info at, CHCH, info at CB24, or the news stories alerts at, feel free to send them a notice on their behalf.
Jim Turner says the Supreme Court of Canada will accept the case as it has a national importance. It's true. There is some serious issues that the Supreme Court wants to take a look at, and this will be one of them. They could, and McKeever's like, they could just refuse to hear it. Well, that's possible too. It's not like I have the money for another court challenge, and Paul told me, he's like, nah, it goes to the Supreme Court where you won't have to worry about paying. Other people pay. I was like, oh, okay. So, hashtag RV Mernagh. I'm going to check my messages.
So last time this happened, February 2003, in a Windsor courtroom, a crazy Toronto lawyer argues for like a 14-year-old kid that there is no medical marijuana program. He's one of the only ones that made the same argument you're kind of trying to make, that it's all an illusion. There is no thing, and nobody, even though the kid had nothing to do with marijuana, they agreed in February of 2003. And we had the summer of legalization that got overturned in, go ahead, that got overturned in October of 2003. But would you anticipate, what we didn't have at the time was our Attorney General didn't tell all the police, I guess the top cop in Ontario didn't tell all the police officers basically stop enforcing this law. Like, I think you mentioned the statistic in Ontario, 3,500 people were arrested during that February to October period where there was no law. And they still arrested 3,500 people. So what do you expect in that regard? I'm curious.
What we have petitioned, or the Canadian Civil Liberties Association petition, they have suggested that, given that problem, they brought that problem to the court's attention, the Ontario Court of Appeal, the Canadian Civil Liberties Association brought that issue forward. Their solution is that if there is a period where the government's given a leeway, if the government's given some leeway, anyone caught with marijuana would simply be given a court date after the leeway, and they'd get their marijuana back. So Paul Bernstein's argument was, look, you're in the period of invalidity. Marijuana still stood. 3,500 people got charged. So our new idea is if to avoid this from happening, if Paul Bernstein, a very talented lawyer, said, they asked, so what do you want the solution here is if I do this? They said, well, if you give them leeway, everybody should just simply get a court date. And they should keep their marijuana until after the leeway date. So those are heavy submissions on the court mind. When you have a court of appeal
between like day 1 and day 91, but like come day 91, if you win, of course, it comes to a point where there is no law at all. There's now no more possession in the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act. It just doesn't exist anymore. It's of no force and effect. And the same thing with production, cultivation.
And the government will introduce the MMPR.
But how does that change anything?
They'll say to the court that they have nurse practitioners.
But why would you want to give that to them?
I'm not giving them anything. I don't want that solution. Well, we'll be on the we'll be on the POTTV network at 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Pacific. Vapor Central's filling up. Comedy is at might be my future career. So don't forget my book comes out soon too. Perfectly timed. You would think. People are asking me to do Joe Rogan. We're trying to get some Hamiltonians out to see our friend Pete Mellon. Pete Mellon. If you can't, actually, Brian Goodwin will be at John Sopinka Courthouse to support our friend Pete Mellon, who you read on the front page of Cannabis Culture just got busted, of all things, for running a dispensary. Our original intention was to go out to his court case to, see him in bail court and just wave to him. Hey, we're here. Yeah, wave his sign and then go into court to see him. But now we are, plan one is this. Unfortunately, I think Pete would be here if he could. So, the dude's in Barton tonight. He'd be at the party. So, as I said, we're inviting everybody to come out to Vapor Central tomorrow, 2 o'clock. I'm trying to text people. I tried to get I also have to call my mom when I know something. She's like, well, you gonna... Yeah, that's what I asked. Hey, give me 30 minutes before I call my parents because I don't want my sister to read it online and then call my mom before I can tell the fam what's going on. Just forgot to message. I forgot to message my friend Sadie C. So, I know, I'm looking at lots of viewers out there. People are taking the train into TO. So, basically, come on down to Vapor Central, and we'll be online on the POTTV network, smoking weed and doing media, and I think that's just the easiest thing. The lounge is totally full tonight. Trying to get onto my Facebook. Kev, 97 people have liked my Facebook status update. 97. My Facebook app status has said, this is it, we're getting the ruling tomorrow at Lewin's office. All right. And anybody else out there? Somebody said you missed a spot, Brady. Yeah, celebration tomorrow, 2 p.m. Probably. Oh, that's the plan. Sadie just messaged me back. Feeling pretty good. I got no more stress anymore. Feeling a good sense of relief. So. Yeah, if you can come down, come on down to Vapor Central. Probably not. We're going home in a bit. Probably not. Probably won't sleep much. Can't remember the date I was arrested.
Jeremiah asked me before this show, before we even started, whatever, if when Matt Mernagh was originally arrested and in what city. I told him it was in St. Catharines. I remember the apartment stretch right in the downtown St. Catharines. He thinks it's approximately April of 2008. We opened Vapor Central in February 2007. We had our first smoke out in April 2007 at Yonge and Dundas. I don't know if it was, I'm not sure. So yeah, and Jeremiah commented right back to me that it seemed so long ago, and that yes, I definitely have to congratulate Matt and Paul Lewin and all the hard work. There's 22 patient witnesses, and even Brady having to put up with Mernagh. But no, like, they put in a lot of work over so many years, and I know I'm joking in some respects, but this is a very serious topic that that I really hope for, obviously, the best outcome overall, man. And good luck tomorrow. I just want to say that, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, so April 2008. I think that's the date. It sounds about right. There's a Niagara Regional press release. So if you can, like, type in Matt Mernagh Niagara Regional Police Service press release, you should be able to find it in Google. Yeah. And you can just stream it off my phone. I might need my phone.
You put the camera in your face, you just look-see with them right back. Like, have the camera going. It'd be awesome. It'd be hilarious, too.
Man, there's a lot of people out in the chat tonight. So, yes, we got lots and lots of tomorrow. Like I said, guys, tune in at 2. We'll be
in our time. It'll be available publicly. So I still think I'm going live earlier. We might not stay live and stuff. You definitely have to cut stuff off and whatever. But, or 2 p.m. I actually said first to Jeremiah, I might even go live between 10 and 11 a.m. our time.
So you'll be here at Vapor Central then.
Yeah, I'll be here. And we'll just like, we're not going to stay on forever. We don't have a comedy show coming on right after. Jeremiah's show's at 7 p.m. our time. At 2 p.m. when we do go live for, like, officialness kind of thing, we will stay live until 4:20, so, like, 2 hours, 20 minutes at least. And then, but if we go live at 10 a.m., expect us to be on air for about 20 minutes to give you guys just an update, give you guys whatever, and let you know what we know, if we can let you know anything, which will be before it's public. So that's also one of the things. Stay tuned to livestream.com/POTTV Network, and I'm definitely going to go live. I don't even care. I went live in the Ontario Court of Appeals, for fuck's sake. And they gave us a separate room and whatever, and I was going live for hours in there before the judge from the other courtroom was kind of pissed. But Mernagh can tell you, because I don't even know what happened.
He was pretty pissed at you. Said it was an actual courtroom, and don't he's, wagged his finger at you guys. You're lucky.
You're live.
You're not allowed to do that. You're allowed to tweet from the court now, though.
I've never liked people that say you're not allowed to do that. When it's harmless, and they don't even know. And it goes for hours without anybody knowing sometimes. Oh, it was great.
All right, so. Suits out. Be heading out of here in a bit. Take a hot bath. Chill. Well.
Off in a few minutes, and I'm gonna let this. The stream's going good though, but maybe I'll just play a clip that's long enough, and so I can restart my. I don't even maybe need to. I don't know. I like to put a cut before we start the comedy show though, so I expect me to cut this off soon.
To join this Thursday, and let's close out the week
all right
on Friday
head it up
again with the pleasure of
upload Matt's speech
classic
audio.
Bob Marley. The Rastaman's
I don't know what McKeever's doing.
And
It's going to get us in trouble, though.
Curtis Mayfield, all rolled into one. The BBC's song of the millennium. Have a great evening.
Yeah, we're recording this in 720p as well, video and whatever. But yeah, Vapor Central goes from about being 50-60% full to getting to standing room only and no tables, no chairs available, and we can seat like 170 people. So this place is it gets pretty busy on a comedy night. So we are gonna play a clip soon and restart the stream, and enjoy, suckers. Hey, look at that hoodie. POTTV.
Howdy, POTTV. Yo, how are the blunts?
They'll probably answer you too. So I have this mic right now the same as the ceiling mic, so it doesn't come out of the house speakers, but live stream can hear it.
Cool. You're a high-tech pro. It's amazing how good you are at electronics considering how baked you are 24 hours a day.
That's what you think. I'm a genius.
Yeah, well, genius usually is defined by plugging mics into sound systems, so for sure you're a genius.
Don't pay attention to Hunter. I'm turning off his mic. I don't know if you've seen or heard, but Mernagh's legalizing marijuana and growing marijuana and possessing marijuana and big rule.
I think it better go in our favor, or else we're just going to keep smoking weed all the time.
You heard it here first from Hunter Collins. If they do not, if the ruling doesn't go in our favor, he's going to continue smoking weed.
About what ruling?
The R.V. Mernagh ruling.
Is this something about the weed thing you guys were talking about before, right?
Yes.
And can you refresh me on what that ruling now means?
This is medical marijuana patient Matt Mernagh, who challenged the government and beat them. Nope, they're knocking down possession and cultivation. tomorrow.
Are you serious?
If he wins, that's what happens. If he loses,
He goes to jail? He's a champ. Well, I
that's why he's the cannabis champion of the world, Matt Mernagh. Mernagh, at Mernagh.
How much time he's facing?
Significant jail time.
Yeah, that's a good question, too. POTTV, I'm sure, is wondering, what do you think the potential... Are you going to get 18 months?
Probably 2 years plus a day.
You'll get a 2 year plus a day sentence.
Because I'm a real, you're a fucking miscreant.
Well, speaking says someone that's had faced 2 life sentences before. I know how it feels, and I wish you the best of luck. And he's holding his head high like a champ, and good things come to those that go there.
Not those that wait, those that just grow and do it anyways. But yeah, thank you.
Jury trial?
Yeah, he already won at the Superior Court. They appealed him, and that case has already been heard too. And we've waited a year for the ruling.
I think the reason they took so long is because they knew they hit the rule in his favor, and they feel really bad about it. They're waiting for the right time. They're probably going to do something. They're probably going to do something else and release it on the same day, so no one really cares about it.
That's what we think too. Exactly. Again, you heard it here first at Vapor Central. They knew. What do you think about the comments of these strangers at Vapor Central?
I think they're spot on. That's why we're going to have a big fat party.
Except that first guy. I don't know about him.
I don't know about it.
Hunter Collin.
Called you a savant.
If Mernagh doesn't win, we're just going to keep growing weed like we always did anyway.
Very true.
That also is what Paul McKeever wrote in his little blog, too, by the way. That it puts Matt in an awkward position. Sometimes, even if Mernagh wins with some sort of weird wrangling, sideways thing, like he said, if they go in a weird direction, it might end up where Mernagh is still in a position where he's growing illegally. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I know. Doesn't make any sense to me. We're hoping for the best.
We are hoping for the best. It's going to be a whatever page ruling, like 50 pages, 100 pages, 80 pages, 200 pages. There's no possession and no cultivation.
Yeah, I recently got arrested with marijuana, and the cops pressed the charges because they hate me and I beat all the cases. So actually, I now have a possession of marijuana for like 7 or 14 grams, one or the other. It was like, yeah, my lawyer.
You'll be okay.
I called my lawyer and he said, tell the public defender to get you out. It's not worth my time,
I hope this has been a good broadcast for you guys. I wasn't even prepared. I woke up and Mernagh calls me and I had to put pants on. And that was all I knew. And I was still under blankets when he says, yo, get up. The ruling is in tomorrow. And I got up. And
is that it? All right. Well, it's good to see everybody. Make sure everybody passes the word around. Put the hashtag in the chat.
Improvised stuff is best, eh? That was kind of cool. I just tried to go with it there and see. If anybody else walks by, I'll ask them their opinion. Hey, Sean, what do you think?
I am looking forward to tomorrow. This is bigger than...
That's enough of Sean. Okay. Hey, guys.
Yeah, all those guys in the chat are just having way too much fun with this. Everybody's in the school of Mernagh when it comes to Brady. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Gonna try and take a nice, good care of this guy. I'm looking forward to this for a long time. Bouncing off the walls ever since I found out. He's at the back, yelling into the phone. This is it, buddy. I hear him on the other end. This is it. This is it, buddy. This is it. This is it. So, big day tomorrow.
So I'm going to go home now. Comedians are on. I'm just going to go home and chill at the house. Play some weed.
You first said you were going to have a hot bath.
I thought I said I was going to have a hot bath. Didn't they hear that part? Didn't I say it on mic? I thought I said it on mic. But, no. That's weird. So, yeah, we'll be doing that and then suit up and head to Lewin's office. I might do, you know. We're pretty, thanks. Well, we're pretty excited, and this place is just going to be lit up tomorrow. So that's what's happening here, and looking forward to having a good night. Thanks, Tronics. This place is popping. Like, people are just getting in on time. And it's going to be even smokier tomorrow. It's just you won't be able to see anything. Huh? Thanks, buddy. Is that what Jeremiah Bose did? Awesome. The ruling that could have wide implications for Canada's marijuana laws. Do I hit the cannabis culture button? Do I read further? I'll be at BC at 2 o'clock, no later than I would suspect. I'm going to do the Jim Richards show, hopefully between 1 and 2, and then come here. Start the celebrations, get on POTTV.
All right, POTTV. Listen, I'm going to play a clip, and we're going to come back in a bit. Less than between 5 and 10 minutes. Just, I'll stay live, though. I won't even get off live. I'll, like, play an on-demand clip of some sort. The Weedy Wednesday Best of Dance Competition. See ya! 8 minutes.
Some time to search my soul. Well, they're putting up resistance, but I know that my faith will lead me on. I don't know where life will lead me, but I know where I've been. I can't say what life will show me, but I know what I've seen. Tried my hand at love and friendship, but all that is past and gone. This little boy is moving on, sitting here in limbo, waiting for the tide to flow. Sitting here in limbo, knowing that I have to go. Well, they're putting up resistance, but I know that my faith will lead me on. I can't say what life will show me, but I know what I've seen. I can't say where